Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This presentation is for informational and educational purposes only. The information provided is not financial, investment, or career advice. Choosing an MBA program is a major personal and financial decision, and you should always conduct your own thorough research and consult with admissions professionals and financial advisors before making any commitments. The rankings and opinions expressed in this video are based on our own analysis of publicly available data and are subject to change. What if I told you that getting an MBA from a top American university could be the biggest financial mistake of your life? It sounds crazy, right? We see the headlines. Average starting salaries soaring past $200,000, signing bonuses that look like a down payment on a house. The MBA is sold as the golden ticket. But here's the brutal truth the brochures don't tell you. A recent poll found that nearly 45% of MBA graduates, when looking back, said they wouldn't do it again. Almost half. They're drowning in 6 figures of debt, stuck in a job they could have gotten anyway, and feeling like they just wasted 2 of the most critical years of their career. So what's the difference? What separates the people whose lives are completely transformed by business school from the ones who are filled with regret? It's not about getting into just any top-ranked school. It's about getting into the right school for you, for your goals, and for the world we'll be living in 2026. The old way of just looking at the U.S. news ranking is broken. It's a lagging indicator. It tells you about a school's reputation yesterday, not its trajectory for tomorrow. That's why we made this list. Over the next 10 segments, we are going to break down the definitive top 10 best MBA programs in the USA for 2026. And this isn't just another list regurgitating the same old names in the same old order. We've thrown out the old playbook. Our methodology is built for the future. We analyzed not just starting salaries and employment rates, but we dug deeper. We looked at the strength and responsiveness of alumni networks. We factored in student satisfaction and the quality of life. Most importantly, we waited for curriculum innovation. Which programs are truly preparing their students for a world dominated by AI, decentralized finance, and a global push for sustainability? Which schools will give you the skills to lead in 2030, not just 2020? This is the list that will help you decide between a $200,000 investment that changes your life and a $200,000 mistake that holds you back. So, if you're ready to get past the marketing fluff and find out where you should really be sending your application, let's get into it. Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is a program that has undergone one of the most remarkable transformations in business education over the last decade. It's a school that's part of an undisputed, God-tier university brand, but for years, its business school was seen as a bit different. A little less corporate, a little more idealistic. But in recent years, it has quietly and methodically built itself into an absolute powerhouse that places its graduates at the very highest levels of finance, consulting, and tech, all while holding on to its unique soul. Coming in at number 10, the Yale School of Management. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Yale? For business? Isn't that where you go to run a nonprofit or the World Bank? And yes, that is absolutely in its DNA. The school's founding mission is to educate leaders for business and society. For a long time, the world focused on the business part or the society part. Yale is one of the few places that has figured out how to master both, making its graduates uniquely prepared for the modern economy, where profit and purpose are no longer mutually exclusive. Let's talk numbers because they are staggering. The median base salary for the latest graduating class was $175,000, with a median signing bonus of $30,000. That puts them squarely in the elite tier, competing head-to-head with the schools you traditionally think of as the M7. 92% of graduates had a job offer within 3 months of graduation. And where are they going? The top 3 industries are consulting, finance, and technology. McKinsey, Bain, BCG, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Google, Amazon. The list of top employers is a carbon copy of any other top 5 program. Yale has cracked the code on placing students into the world's most coveted and competitive post-MBA jobs. So how did they do it? The secret sauce at Yale is its integrated curriculum. This is a game changer. Unlike most business schools where you take siloed classes, marketing, finance, operations, Yale's first year is built around what they call organizational perspectives. You'll take a course called The Executive, where you study leadership through the eyes of different stakeholders, employees, investors, customers. You're not just learning the Black-Scholes model in a vacuum. You're learning how financial decisions impact marketing strategy, and how operational changes affect customer satisfaction, all in the same case study, all at the same time. It's a holistic way of thinking that mirrors how the real world actually works. It forces you to think like a CEO from day one, not like a junior marketing manager. This is why recruiters from the top consulting firms love Yale grads. They come out of the program pre-wired to solve complex, cross-functional problems. Now let's talk about the network and the culture. Because it's part of an Ivy League university, the Yale brand opens doors that few others can. But the SOM network itself is famously tight-knit and incredibly responsive. With a class size of around 350 students, it's a genuinely collaborative environment. This isn't one of those cutthroat, sharp elbows programs. Students actively help each other prepare for interviews, even when they're competing for the same job. The culture is driven by that dual mission of business and society. You'll be sitting next to a former private equity associate on one side and a Teach for America alum on the other. That diversity of perspective isn't just a marketing slogan. It's baked into the daily classroom experience, and it creates leaders who are more well-rounded and globally minded. So, who is Yale SOM for in 2026? It is the absolute perfect fit for the mission-driven high achiever. You're someone who wants to make a massive impact, and you want to be compensated handsomely for it, but you also care about the why behind your work. It's for the career switcher who wants to pivot into a top-tier consulting or finance role, but wants to do it in a collaborative, intellectually stimulating environment rather than a brutalist boot camp. It's also arguably the best MBA program in the world for anyone interested in nonprofit management, sustainability, or ESG, environmental, social, and governance, investing with unparalleled resources and connections in those fields. Now, who is it not for? If your only goal is to land a job at a specific quantitative hedge fund in New York, and you have zero interest in the broader context of business, there might be more specialized, finance-focused programs for you. If you want the energy and chaos of a massive program in the heart of a megacity, Yale's quieter, more academic home in New Haven might feel a bit slow. This is a program for thinkers, for collaborators, for people who want to build, not just climb. The 2026 X Factor for Yale is its global footprint. Yale is, by far, the most globally oriented of the top U.S. business schools. It was the first to create a global network of top business schools, and every single student is required to complete a global studies requirement, which often includes international travel and work with companies abroad. In an increasingly polarized world, the ability to understand and operate across different cultures isn't a soft skill anymore. It's a fundamental requirement for leadership. Yale understands this better than anyone. So while it may not have the old-school blue blood reputation of a Harvard or a Wharton just yet, the Yale School of Management has built a program for the future. It combines elite career outcomes with a deep sense of purpose, creating a new kind of leader. It is, without a doubt, a top 10 MBA program in the United States, and a brilliant way to kick off our list. Now, climbing into our number 9 spot, we journey from the idyllic hills of New Hampshire to the concrete canyons of New York City. Because if you truly believe that business is about proximity to power, access to capital, and the relentless energy of ambition, then your classroom can't just be a building. It has to be the global epicenter of commerce itself. Welcome to Columbia Business School. The tagline for CBS is simple and profoundly true: at the very center of business. This isn't a marketing slogan. It's a fundamental statement of identity. While other schools might need to fly in a CEO for a keynote speech at Columbia, that same CEO might just be teaching your Wednesday afternoon class after walking over from their global headquarters a few blocks away. The barrier between academic theory and real-world practice doesn't just blur here. It completely dissolves. The strategic advantage of its location is almost impossible to overstate. For aspiring titans of finance, you're not just learning about Wall Street, you are on Wall Street. The ability to take on in-semester internships at Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, or a Tiger Cup hedge fund isn't an exception. It's a core part of the CBS experience. This learn in the morning, apply in the afternoon model provides a continuous feedback loop that accelerates learning and network building at a pace few other institutions can match. You're not just a student, you're an active participant in the New York business ecosystem from day one. And let's be clear, while finance is its historic stronghold, home to the legendary Heilbronn Center for Graham and Dodd Investing, the birthplace of value investing, Columbia has evolved far beyond its Wall Street reputation. It's a powerhouse in consulting, with every major firm aggressively recruiting on campus. It's a magnet for luxury retail and marketing, leveraging its proximity to Madison Avenue and the world's most iconic brands. It's a burgeoning hub for media and entertainment, tapping into the city's creative core. The school itself is a testament to this forward momentum. The recent move to its new, state-of-the-art Manhattanville campus is more than just a real estate upgrade. It's a multi-billion-dollar statement of intent. The two new buildings, Henry R. Kravis Hall and David Geffen Hall, are architectural marvels designed to foster collaboration, innovation, and spontaneous interaction, the very currency of modern business. This isn't the stuffy, wood-paneled institution of the past. It's a bright, open, tech-infused environment built for the 21st century. But how does a school of this size, in a city this vast, create a sense of community? Through the cluster system. First-year students are placed into clusters of 60 to 70 people, who take all core classes together. This creates an immediate, tight-knit family within the larger institution, fostering deep personal and professional bonds that last a lifetime. It's a brilliant solution to the challenge of scale, ensuring that no student gets lost in the New York shuffle. For 2026 and beyond, Columbia's value proposition is clearer than ever. As industries continue to converge, finance with technology, media with data, retail with experience, being physically present at the nexus of that convergence is a game-changing advantage. The curriculum reflects this with deep dives into fintech, data analytics, and social enterprise. The result? A staggering 95% of graduates receive job offers within 3 months of graduation, with a median base salary pushing $175,000, before even considering the substantial bonuses that are common for its graduates. Columbia doesn't just open doors. It puts you in the room where the doors are being built. It is unequivocally one of the most powerful launchpads for a global business career on the planet. From the center of the business world, we now travel to the undisputed center of the technology universe. Our number 8 school isn't just a business school. It's a business school embedded within the most legendary science and engineering institution in modern history. It's a place where Nobel laureates walk the halls and world-changing inventions are born in the lab next door. This is the MIT Sloan School of Management. The philosophy at MIT is captured in its motto, Mens ite manus, or mind in hand. This isn't just a quaint Latin phrase. It is the absolute bedrock of the Sloan experience. The core belief here is that you cannot truly understand a problem until you have tried to solve it, and you cannot lead a team until you have rolled up your sleeves and built something alongside them. This is the antithesis of passive theoretical learning. This is action learning. Action Learning Labs are the crown jewel of the Sloan MBA. This is where the mind-in-hand philosophy comes to life. You won't just read a case study about a startup struggling with market entry in Brazil. You and a small team of your classmates will fly to Sao Paulo, embed with that company, and help them build their market entry strategy from the ground up. Whether it's G-Lab for global entrepreneurship, E-Lab for energy and sustainability, or H-Lab for healthcare, students apply their classroom knowledge to solve complex, unstructured problems for real organizations in real time. This experience is transformative. It builds not just analytical skills, but resilience, cultural intelligence, and the confidence that comes from having already navigated the messy reality of global business before you even graduate. This hands-on problem-solving ethos makes Sloan a magnet for a specific type of person: the builder, the innovator, the systems thinker. The curriculum is, without question, one of the most analytically rigorous in the world. You will be immersed in data science, systems dynamics, and optimization models. It's demanding, and it's designed to forge leaders who don't just follow trends but can quantitatively model them, understand their underlying drivers, and predict their trajectory. This is why graduates are so sought after by the world's most innovative companies, from Google and Amazon to cutting-edge startups and top-tier venture capital firms. They don't just hire Sloanies to manage, they hire them to invent. The entrepreneurial ecosystem at MIT is simply unparalleled. Sloan is the hub of a campus-wide network that includes the Martin Trust Center for MIT Entrepreneurship, the Sandbox Innovation Fund, and the legendary MIT $100,000 entrepreneurship competition. The sheer volume and quality of startup resources available is staggering. If you have an idea for a company, there is no better place on earth to find the co-founders, the seed funding, the faculty mentorship, and the technological expertise to turn that idea into a reality. The statistics are mind-boggling. A 2015 report estimated that living MIT alumni have launched over 30,000 active companies, creating 4.6 million jobs and generating roughly $1.9 trillion in annual revenue. That's a nation-state-sized economy, born from one campus in Cambridge, Massachusetts. But for all its quantitative rigor and technological prowess, The culture at Sloan is often described as surprisingly humble, collaborative, and mission-driven. There's a shared belief that the goal isn't just personal success, but solving the world's hardest problems. Students are united by a passion for using technology and smart management to tackle challenges like climate change, global health, and economic inequality. It's a culture of we over me, of intellectual curiosity over ego. Looking ahead to 2026, MIT Sloan is perfectly positioned for the future. The world's biggest challenges and opportunities lie at the intersection of business, technology, and data. This isn't a new trend Sloan is adapting to. It is the very space Sloan has defined and dominated for decades. While other schools are adding certificates in AI and analytics, Sloan is home to the people who are inventing the next generation of these tools. For the aspiring leader who wants not just to participate in the future of business, but to actively build it, the choice is clear. MIT Sloan doesn't just prepare you for a job, it prepares you to change the world. But changing the world isn't always about building a new technology. Sometimes it's about fundamentally changing how we connect with people, how we build teams, and how we lead with empathy. And when it comes to leadership built on human connection, our next school is in a league of its own. Let's head to the shores of Lake Michigan to Evanston, Illinois, and talk about the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. If schools like MIT and Chicago are the undisputed kings of quantitative analysis, Kellogg is the undisputed master of the human element. This is the place where the world's best marketers are forged, not just because they learn about the 4 Ps, but because they learn about the 5th and most important one, people. Kellogg's entire philosophy is built on a single powerful idea: that business is a human enterprise, and the most successful leaders are those who can inspire, collaborate, and motivate. They call it high-impact, low-ego leadership, and it's baked into every fiber of the program. From day one, you are immersed in a culture of radical collaboration. The classroom experience isn't a lecture, it's a Socratic debate. Group projects aren't a small component of your grade. They are the bedrock of your learning. This is not the place for lone wolves. Kellogg actively filters for students who demonstrate high emotional intelligence, and they put you through a crucible of teamwork that forces you to become a better listener, a more persuasive communicator, and a more empathetic leader. This philosophy comes to life in traditions like Quest, Kellogg Worldwide Experiences, and service trips. Before you even step foot in a classroom, you and a small group of your new classmates are sent on a trip to a location you only discover at the airport. Led by second-year students, it's a 5-day deep dive into team building, vulnerability, and forming bonds that will last a lifetime. It sets the tone for the entire MBA experience. At Kellogg, your network isn't just a collection of LinkedIn contacts, it's a family. And let's talk about marketing. To say Kellogg is a marketing powerhouse is an understatement. It's the mecca for aspiring chief marketing officers. Professors like the legendary Philip Kotler literally wrote the book on modern marketing. The curriculum goes far beyond theory, with experiential labs where students work as brand managers for Fortune 500 companies, tackling real-world challenges. You're not just studying a case about launching a new consumer product. You are in the room with executives from Procter & Gamble or PepsiCo, developing the launch strategy yourself. This is why Kellogg graduates are some of the most sought-after leaders in consumer packaged goods, tech marketing, and consulting. They are the ones who understand how to build a brand that resonates, how to launch a product that people love, and how to lead a team that will run through walls for a shared vision. So if you believe that the future of business will be won not by the smartest algorithm, but by the leader who best understands the human heart, then Kellogg isn't just an option, it's your destination. From the collaborative heart of the Midwest, we now journey to the epicenter of disruption, the West Coast. If our last school was about understanding people, our next is about challenging everything. Nestled in the intellectual and innovative hub of Berkeley, California, is the Haas School of Business. And Haas is different. It's not just an MBA program, it's a cultural movement. The entire experience is guided by 4 defining leadership principles: question the status quo, confidence without attitude, students always, and beyond yourself. These aren't just marketing slogans on a brochure. They are the living, breathing ethos of the school. To get into Haas, you have to demonstrate them. To succeed at Haas, you have to embody them. Question the status quo is the most famous, and for good reason. Being just a stone's throw from Silicon Valley, Haas is infused with the DNA of innovation and rebellion. This is the program for the founder who sees a broken industry and wants to build a better one. It's for the entrepreneur who wants to transform a corporate giant from the inside out. The curriculum and the culture constantly push you to ask why and what if. You're surrounded by classmates who are launching startups from their dorm rooms, working on clean energy solutions at the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, or developing new business models for social impact. The school's connection to the Bay Area ecosystem is its superpower. You're not just learning about venture capital. You're taking a class taught by a partner from Andreessen Horowitz or Kleiner Perkins. You're not just studying entrepreneurship. You're launching your company through the Skydeck Accelerator, with direct access to mentors, funding, and the entire UC Berkeley network. This proximity to the world's most dynamic economic engine provides an unparalleled advantage. But what truly sets Haas apart is the combination of this ambition with its other principles. Confidence without attitude speaks to the uniquely Californian culture. Brilliant but humble, driven but collaborative. It's a place devoid of the sharp elbows you might find elsewhere. Students always reflects a deep-seated intellectual curiosity, a desire to keep learning and adapting in a world that changes by the second. And finally, Beyond Yourself encapsulates the school's profound commitment to social responsibility. Haas students don't just want to build successful companies, they want to build a better world. This is reflected in its pioneering work in sustainability, corporate social responsibility, and impact investing. So, who is the Haas MBA for? It's for the idealist with a plan, the dreamer with a spreadsheet. It's for the person who believes that business can be the single greatest force for positive change in the world. If you want to launch the next unicorn, lead a sustainable revolution, or simply learn how to build a career with purpose and meaning, Haas provides the tools, the network, and the inspiration to make it happen. Now, let's leave the sunny optimism of California and travel back to the intellectual battleground of Chicago. If Haas is about questioning the status quo, our next institution is about understanding it with such profound, analytical rigor that you can bend it to your will. Welcome to the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. There is a phrase you will hear over and over again at Booth: the Chicago approach. It's not just a methodology, it's a worldview. Rooted in a legacy of Nobel laureates and a belief in fundamental disciplines like economics, statistics, and behavioral science, the Chicago approach teaches you one thing better than any other school on the planet: how to think. It's about dismantling complex, ambiguous business problems, breaking them down to their first principles, and using data and evidence to build an unassailable logical framework for your decisions. This is the school for the intellectually fearless. The curriculum is famously flexible. In fact, it's the most flexible of any top MBA program. Outside of one required leadership course, you are the architect of your own education. Want to become a quantitative finance god? You can design a curriculum that would rival a PhD program. Want to master data analytics for marketing? You can take courses from the world's leading experts in statistics and behavioral economics. This freedom is both a gift and a test. Booth doesn't hold your hand. It trusts you to know what you need and gives you the unparalleled resources to go get it. The culture at Booth is intense, cerebral, and unapologetically data-driven. Arguments in class aren't won with rhetoric. They are won with better models and cleaner data. Your classmates are not just smart. They are razor-sharp thinkers who will challenge your assumptions at every turn. It's a competitive environment, but one rooted in a deep respect for intellectual honesty. The goal isn't to be right. The goal is to get to the right answer together. This process forges graduates who are famously analytical, prepared, and unflappable. When a Booth graduate presents a recommendation in a boardroom, you know it's been pressure tested from every conceivable angle. This rigorous analytical training makes Booth a dominant force in the worlds of finance and consulting. Wall Street investment banks, private equity firms, and hedge funds recruit heavily at Booth because they know its graduates can handle the immense quantitative demands of the job from day one. Similarly, top-tier consulting firms like McKinsey, Bain, and BCG value Boothies for their structured problem-solving skills and their ability to bring clarity to chaos. But the Chicago approach is not just for finance wizards. It's a universal toolkit for leadership. It teaches you to filter out the noise, to identify the core drivers of any problem, and to make decisions based on evidence, not emotion. For the aspiring leader who craves intellectual depth, who believes that the best answer is always backed by data, and who wants to build a career on a foundation of unshakable analytical rigor, there is simply no better place than the University of Chicago Booth. It doesn't just teach you what to think, it fundamentally changes how you think. And if the University of Chicago Booth is the intellectual forge shaping raw intelligence into an analytical weapon, Our next school is the grand strategic table where those weapons are deployed, not against each other but together towards a common goal. This is the school that asks a fundamentally different, and perhaps more modern question. What good is being the smartest person in the room if you can't get the entire room to follow you? Coming in at number 7 is the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. If you've ever worked on a team with a brilliant jerk, someone who's always right but who leaves a trail of bruised egos and broken morale in their wake, Kellogg is the institutional antidote to that person. This is the place that pioneered the idea that collaboration isn't a soft skill. It's a hard-edged competitive advantage. For decades, while other schools were breeding lone wolves, Kellogg was building the pack. Located just north of Chicago in Evanston, Illinois, with a stunning modern campus called the Global Hub sitting right on the shores of Lake Michigan, Kellogg's entire philosophy is built on a foundation of teamwork. This isn't just a talking point they put in their brochures. It's baked into the very DNA of the program. Nearly every class, every project, every case study is a group endeavor. They believe that the modern business challenges, launching a product in a saturated market, navigating a complex merger, pivoting an entire company in response to a technological disruption, are too complex for any one individual to solve alone. Success, they argue, is a team sport. This creates a culture that is famously, almost shockingly, friendly and supportive. Students aren't just classmates. They are teammates. They actively work to help each other succeed. Study groups share notes. Second years spend countless hours coaching first years through the grueling consulting and banking recruitment processes, and the entire atmosphere is one of shared purpose. The school's unofficial motto is high impact, low ego, and they screen for it relentlessly in their admissions process. They don't want the person who has all the answers. They want the person who can draw the best answers out of a diverse group of people. They want leaders who listen more than they talk. Nowhere is this culture more vividly on display than in one of the most legendary traditions in all of business school, Quest. Kellogg Worldwide Experiences and Service Trips. Imagine this. It's the week before orientation. You don't know a single soul in your incoming class of over 500 students. You're nervous, excited, probably a little intimidated. You get an email assigning you to a group of 20 classmates, and a destination you might not have even heard of. It could be anywhere from hiking the mountains of Peru to exploring the deserts of Jordan, or sailing the coast of Croatia. For 5 days before you ever step foot in a classroom, you and these 19 strangers are thrown into a shared adventure, completely disconnected from the outside world. There's no posturing, no talk of GMAT scores or pre-MBA careers. It's just you, your new teammates, and a challenge to overcome together. By the end of those 5 days, you've forged bonds that are deeper than just professional networking. You've built genuine friendships. You arrive on campus not as an individual, but as part of a tight-knit Quest group, an instant family that will be your support system for the next 2 years and beyond. This single experience sets the tone for the entire Kellogg journey. It's a masterclass in building trust and camaraderie under pressure, and it's why Kellogg students start their MBA with a collaborative mindset that other schools spend an entire semester trying to instill. Academically, this team-based approach fuels Kellogg's powerhouse reputation in one area above all others: marketing. For decades, Kellogg has been the undisputed king of marketing education. But to think of it as just advertising and branding is to miss the point entirely. Kellogg's approach to marketing is rooted in a deep, profound understanding of human psychology and customer empathy. It's about understanding people's needs, desires, and pain points so intimately that you can create products and services they don't even know they need yet. It's a discipline that requires you to get out of your own head and into the head of your customer, the ultimate act of collaboration. This is why graduates from Kellogg have gone on to lead the marketing departments at virtually every major consumer brand you can think of, from Nike and Procter & Gamble to Google and PepsiCo. But the school is far from a one-trick pony. It boasts a world-class strategy department and is a dominant force in management consulting placement. Every year, a massive percentage of the graduating class floods the offices of McKinsey, Bain, and BCG. And it's not just because they're smart. It's because the consulting firms know that a Kellogg graduate can be dropped into a client team on day one and immediately start adding value. Not with a sharp elbow, but with an open hand. They know how to build consensus, manage difficult personalities, and lead a team to a solution. Kellogg also offers one of the most respected one-year MBA programs in the country, designed for students who already have a business background and want to accelerate their careers without the 2-year time commitment. This program is an intense, concentrated version of the Kellogg experience, attracting a cohort that is incredibly focused, driven, and ready to hit the ground running. The result of this unique cultural and academic blend is a network that is legendarily loyal. Kellogg alumni don't just take your call. They actively look for ways to help you. They remember the quest trips, the late-night group projects, the feeling of being part of something bigger than themselves. That shared experience creates a bond that transcends a simple LinkedIn connection. When you graduate from Kellogg, you are a Kellogg, and that means something. It means you're part of a global team that will have your back for the rest of your career. So who is Kellogg for? It's for the person who measures success not by their own individual achievements, but by the success of their team. It's for the aspiring consultant, the brand manager, the startup founder who knows that a great idea is worthless without a great team to execute it. It's for the leader who is confident enough to be humble, the strategist who understands that the best plan is the one everyone buys into. If you believe that your greatest potential will be unlocked not in isolation, but in collaboration with other brilliant, driven people, then the vibrant, supportive, and intensely team-oriented community at Kellogg might just be the perfect place to build your future. It's a school that proves that you don't have to be ruthless to be successful, and that sometimes the most powerful voice in the room is the one that brings everyone else's voices together. From the shores of Lake Michigan, we now travel east to the heart of New England, to an institution that is, in many ways, Kellogg's spiritual opposite. A school so small, so intimate, and so isolated that it creates an entirely different kind of immersive, life-changing experience. Welcome to the woods of Hanover, New Hampshire. Welcome to the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth. If Kellogg is a sprawling, collaborative metropolis, Tuck is an intense, close-knit village. And in that village, something truly unique happens. To understand Tuck, you have to understand its location isn't a bug. It's the core feature. You are 2 hours from Boston, 5 from New York City. You are, for all intents and purposes, isolated. There's no big city to escape to on the weekends. There's no sprawling network of other graduate schools to blend into. There is just you, about 285 of your classmates, and the faculty, all living and breathing this experience together in a small New England town. This forced intimacy is Tuck's secret weapon. It's the crucible that forges one of the most powerful, responsive, and genuinely loyal alumni networks on planet Earth. People joke about the Tuck Mafia, but it's real. When you graduate from Tuck, you don't just get a diploma. You get a lifetime membership to a tribe. A tribe that will answer your call, open doors for you, and go to bat for you in ways that are almost unheard of. The proof is in the numbers. Year after year, Tuck has the highest alumni giving rate of any business school in the world. Think about that. Decades after graduating, Tuckies are so grateful for their experience and so committed to the school's future that they donate their own money at a rate that embarrasses almost every other elite institution. That isn't just about wealth. It's about a deep, profound emotional connection. It tells you everything you need to know about the return on investment for the relationships you build here. So how does Tuck create this magic? It starts with the academic philosophy. Tuck is the quintessential general management program. Its goal is not to churn out specialists, but to mold well-rounded leaders who can see the entire chessboard. The first-year core curriculum is a famously rigorous lockstep journey that every single student takes together. There are no waivers. It doesn't matter if you were a CPA or a private equity associate. You are taking core accounting alongside the English major and the military veteran. This shared struggle, this common foundation of knowledge, is the first step in bonding the class into a single cohesive unit. Then, Tuck layers on world-class experiential learning. Every first-year student participates in the Tuck First Year Project, or FYP. This isn't some theoretical case study. You are placed on a small team and tasked with solving a real-world strategic problem for a real client. From Fortune 500 companies to innovative startups to nonprofits. It's a trial-by-fire consulting engagement that forces you to apply your new core skills under pressure, and it's another powerful, shared bonding experience. And the world is your classroom. Through the Tuck GO program, every student is required to have a global experience. This could be a global consulting project, a term abroad at a partner school, or a faculty-led deep dive into a specific country's economy. Tuck understands that modern leadership is global leadership, and they build that perspective directly into the curriculum. Now let's talk careers. Because for all the talk of community and camaraderie, the outcomes are staggering. Tuck is an absolute powerhouse in the two most sought-after post-MBA careers: management consulting and investment banking. The top-tier consulting firms, McKinsey, Bain, and BCG recruit at Tuck with an intensity that rivals much larger schools. Why? Because they know Tuckies are not just analytically sharp, they are masters of teamwork and communication. They've spent 2 years in an environment that demands collaboration, and that's the exact profile of a successful consultant. The same is true for Wall Street. The pipeline from Hanover to the top investment banks in New York is incredibly well established. The alumni network is so strong in finance that second-year students, who just finished their own banking internships, essentially run the recruiting process for the first years, conducting mock interviews, reviewing resumes, and making introductions. It's an all-hands-on-deck effort that is simply part of the Tuck DNA. You pay it forward, but the culture is what truly sets it apart. The word you'll hear over and over is nice. And in the hyper-competitive world of elite business schools, nice can sometimes be misinterpreted as soft. At Tuck, nice means you are deeply invested in the success of your classmates. It means when you're applying for the same coveted internship as your study group partner, you still spend 3 hours helping them prep for their interview the night before yours. It's a level of trust and support that has to be experienced to be believed. This culture is cultivated through 1,000 small traditions. It's small group dinners at professors' homes. It's the absurdity and joy of tripod hockey, a quintessential Tuck winter activity played on the ice. It's the fact that everyone knows your name, your partner's name, and probably your dog's name. You can't be anonymous at Tuck. You are seen, you are known, and you are part of the fabric of the community from day one. So who is Tuck for? Tuck is for the all-in candidate. It's for the person who understands that who you learn with is just as important as what you learn. It's for the student who wants to build deep, lasting relationships, not just collect LinkedIn connections. It's for the leader who believes that empathy and collaboration are strengths, not weaknesses. If you are looking for a truly transformative, residential MBA experience where you will be challenged academically and embraced personally, and walk away with a family for life, there is no place on earth like Tuck. However, Tuck is not for everyone. If you need the constant stimulation of a major metropolitan area, the isolation of Hanover could be a real challenge. If you have a spouse or partner with a career that isn't portable, the logistics can be incredibly difficult. And if you're an introvert who prefers to fly under the radar, the intense, always-on nature of the community might feel overwhelming. You have to be willing to give yourself over to the experience completely. Tuck represents a deliberate choice. A choice to step away from the noise and distraction of the wider world for 2 years and invest, with incredible focus, in yourself and in the small group of people around you. It's an investment that pays dividends for a lifetime, in the form of a network that is less a professional database and more a global family. It's a different model, a quieter but fiercer model of elite business education. From the quiet, snow-covered forests of New England, we now rocket across the entire country, leaving behind the ivy-covered tradition for the sun-drenched, disruptive heart of American innovation. We travel to the epicenter of venture capital, to a place where the status quo isn't just challenged, it's gleefully dismantled. We're heading to a school that doesn't just study the future. Its students are actively building it, right now, in Silicon Valley's backyard. And that school, of course, is the Stanford Graduate School of Business. Landing at number 5 on our list, the GSB isn't just a business school. It's the molten core of the global innovation economy. If Harvard Business School is the grand, established empire, Stanford is the dynamic, revolutionary force, constantly plotting to overthrow the old guard. Its unofficial motto, whispered in the hallways and lived out in the startup garages of Palo Alto, is simple. Why join the system when you can create a new one? The GSB's power, its almost mythical status, stems from a single unassailable advantage: geography. It's not just near Silicon Valley, it is Silicon Valley. The campus itself feels like a porous membrane, where the world's most ambitious students seamlessly blend with the world's most powerful venture capitalists and visionary founders. You don't just study a case about Google, you might have the executive who built that division teaching your class. You don't just pitch a business plan for a grade. You might pitch it over coffee to a partner from Sequoia Capital who's jogging through campus. This isn't theoretical. This is the daily reality. The school's address on Night Way is arguably the most valuable real estate in the entire landscape of business education. This proximity creates an ecosystem of unparalleled entrepreneurial opportunity. Stanford is, without question, the undisputed champion for anyone with the founder's spirit. The numbers are staggering. GSB alumni have founded companies that, if they were a country, would have one of the largest economies in the world. We're talking about Nike, Charles Schwab, Trader Joe's, Gap, and in the modern era, titans like Netflix, YouTube, LinkedIn, DoorDash, and Robinhood. The school is a veritable unicorn farm. The resources are legendary, from the Center for Entrepreneurial Studies to the Stanford Venture Studio, which acts as an incubator for student-led ventures. But the real magic isn't in the formal programs. It's in the culture. At Stanford, starting a company isn't the alternative path. It's the default ambition. The question isn't if you have an idea, but how big is it and how fast can you scale it? Failure isn't stigmatized. It's a data point, a badge of honor on the path to inevitable success. But here's the twist, the element that makes Stanford so much more than just a launchpad for tech brothers. While the world sees the hard-charging, disruptive exterior, the defining experience for many GSB students is profoundly internal. It's a course officially called Interpersonal Dynamics, but known universally by its nickname, Touchy-Feely. Don't let the name fool you. This isn't about holding hands and singing songs. It is the most intense, emotionally demanding, and according to alumni, most transformative leadership training on the planet. For 10 weeks, students are placed in small confidential groups where they give and receive brutally honest, unvarnished feedback. It's an emotional X-ray. You are forced to confront how you are perceived by others, your communication style, your blind spots, your insecurities, your ego. It is designed to break you down and rebuild you as a leader who is not just smart, but self-aware. In a world where brilliant jerks often flame out, Stanford understands that emotional intelligence, empathy, and the ability to inspire trust are the ultimate competitive advantages. This is Stanford's secret weapon. It forges leaders who can not only build a product, but can also build a culture, a team, and a movement. This deep, personal transformation is made possible by another one of Stanford's key differentiators: its size. With a class of only about 420 students, the GSB is significantly smaller than its East Coast rivals. This isn't a bug. It's a feature. It creates a fiercely loyal, incredibly tight-knit community. You don't just know your classmates. You know their partners, their kids, their dreams, their fears. This intimacy fosters a level of collaboration and trust that is simply impossible in a larger program. The Stanford Network isn't a sprawling database of contacts. It's a tribe. It's a group of people who have gone through a shared crucible and will take your call for the rest of your life. No questions asked. So, who is the Stanford GSB for? First and foremost, the builders, the creators, the nonconformists who see a problem in the world and feel an obsessive need to solve it. If you have a startup idea that keeps you up at night, this is your mecca. Second, it's for those looking to pivot into the heart of the tech industry, whether that's in product management at a FAANG company or as an early employee at a rocket ship startup. The access you get here is simply unmatched. And third, it's for the aspiring venture capitalist who wants to be at the table where the next generation of world-changing companies is funded. Now for the reality check. Getting into Stanford is a statistical miracle. With the lowest acceptance rate of any MBA program on Earth, hovering around 6%, it is the most selective business school in the world. You need more than a high GMAT and a perfect GPA. You need a story. You need to have demonstrated impact, a relentless drive, and a clear vision for how you will embody their motto. Change lives. Change organizations. Change the world. It's an incredibly high bar. The cost of living in Palo Alto is also astronomical, making the total cost of attendance one of the highest you'll find. But for those who earn that golden ticket, the return is immeasurable. Stanford doesn't just give you a degree, it gives you a new identity. It places you at the epicenter of what's next and empowers you with the skills, the network, and the mindset to build it. It's a place for dreamers, but only the ones with the grit and genius to make those dreams a reality. Stanford represents the pinnacle of building something new, of disrupting from the outside. But what if your ambition lies not in creating the new system, but in mastering the existing one? What if you don't want to build a startup, but command a multi-billion-dollar fund? What if your goal isn't to be on the cover of Wired, but the Wall Street Journal? For that, we have to leave the sunny optimism of Silicon Valley behind. We have to travel across the country, to the unforgiving, razor-sharp world of high finance. We're heading to a school whose name is a synonym for quant, for data, for the analytical rigor that powers the global markets. We're going to the place that doesn't just participate in Wall Street, it practically owns it. The University of Chicago Booth School of Business. If other schools teach you the rules of the game, Booth teaches you to question the very existence of the game itself. It's a place built on one radical, powerful idea: the Chicago approach. This isn't just a marketing slogan. It's the school's entire operating system. It's a philosophy that says there are no sacred cows, no unquestionable truths. Every single assumption can and must be challenged with rigorous analysis, empirical data, and a framework-based approach to thinking. They don't give you the answers. They give you the tools to find the truth, even if that truth shatters decades of conventional wisdom. This is the intellectual DNA that has produced more Nobel laureates in economic sciences than any institution on Earth. You're not just learning from textbooks written about the giants of finance and economics. You're walking the same halls and potentially learning from the giants themselves. This philosophy directly shapes Booth's most famous feature: its legendary flexible curriculum. After a mandatory leadership development program called LEAD, which kicks off your first year by forging your cohort into a tight-knit unit, the chains come off. There is no lockstep, one-size-fits-all core curriculum. The choice is entirely yours. Want to dive headfirst into advanced quantitative finance from day one? You can do that. Want to build a bespoke program blending marketing, entrepreneurship, and technology? The power is in your hands. This is both Booth's greatest strength and its most significant challenge. It's the ultimate academic freedom, but it demands an incredible amount of self-awareness and direction from its students. You have to know what you want or be willing to figure it out fast. You are the architect of your own MBA. For the ambitious and the decisive, this is a paradise of customization. For those who need more hand-holding, it can feel like being thrown into the deep end of an Olympic swimming pool. But let's talk about why people are willing to brave the Chicago winters and a curriculum that will stretch their analytical abilities to the breaking point. The results. The numbers are, frankly, staggering. The median total compensation for the latest graduating class hovers around $250,000. But that number doesn't even tell the whole story. Booth is a titan in the two most lucrative post-MBA fields: finance and consulting. About 40% of the class goes into finance, but we're not talking about your local bank branch. We're talking about the command centers of global capital: Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, and the ultra-elite private equity and hedge fund firms like Blackstone and Citadel, the latter of which was founded by a Harvard grad, but is now headquartered in Miami and run with a quant-heavy ethos that feels like it was born in a University of Chicago classroom. Another 35% of the class heads into consulting, with McKinsey, Bain, and BCG hiring small armies of Boothies every single year. They're sought after because a Booth graduate doesn't just know the frameworks. They know how to stress test them, break them, and build better ones from scratch using raw data. This quant-heavy reputation might paint a picture of a school full of socially awkward introverts staring at spreadsheets. But that's a lazy, outdated stereotype. The culture at Booth is intensely collaborative, built on a pay-it-forward ethos. Second-year students who just survived the grueling investment banking recruitment cycle will turn around and spend countless hours coaching first-years, running mock interviews, and sharing their contact lists. It's an ingrained part of the experience. And student life is vibrant. There are the famous random walks, where incoming students sign up for a preterm international trip to a destination that is kept a complete secret until they get to the airport. Imagine starting your MBA by forming lifelong bonds with your classmates while trekking through Patagonia or exploring the markets of Marrakesh. And then there's the city of Chicago itself, a world-class hub for food, culture, music, and architecture that offers a slightly more grounded, accessible feel than the coastal megacities. But what is Booth's secret weapon? Beyond the Nobel laureates and the flexible curriculum, it's the relentless focus on first principles. A Booth education trains you to strip away the noise, the hype, and the way things have always been done, and to rebuild your understanding of a problem from the ground up, based on evidence. It's a way of thinking that is incredibly powerful and portable, whether you're valuing a complex derivative, launching a new tech startup at the Polsky Center for Entrepreneurship, or developing a market entry strategy for a Fortune 500 company. It teaches you to be the smartest person in the room, not by having the most memorized facts, but by having the most disciplined and adaptable mind. Now, who isn't a fit for Booth? If you are allergic to numbers, this is not your school. While you can certainly pursue a non-quantitative path, the entire culture is steeped in data-driven decision-making. If you want a school with a massive, rah-rah football Saturday type of spirit, the more academic and cerebral vibe of Hyde Park might feel a bit subdued. And as mentioned, if you're someone who thrives on structure and a clearly defined path, the sheer optionality of the curriculum could be a source of stress rather than liberation. Booth is for the independent thinker, the self-starter, the person who sees a blank canvas and feels a surge of excitement, not a wave of anxiety. It is for the person who believes that the best answer is never the easy one, but the one that survives the most rigorous intellectual challenge. It's a 2-year crucible of quantitative analysis and intellectual sparring that forges not just brilliant financial minds and consultants, but elite thinkers. The intellectual rigor of Booth is almost unparalleled. It's a place where the power of the idea is king. But what if the ultimate power isn't just in the idea itself, but in the sheer scale and force of the network that carries it? Our next school is a different kind of titan. It's a global brand, a behemoth with an alumni network so vast, so powerful and so loyal. It operates less like a university and more like a sovereign nation. We're going to a place where the name on your diploma doesn't just open doors, it blows them off their hinges. And that place, coming in at number 3 on our list for 2026, is of course Harvard Business School. Let's be clear. For many, HBS isn't just on the list, it is the list. The name itself is a category of one. It's the quintessential archetypal MBA program that has defined business education for over a century. Walking onto its sprawling, self-contained campus across the river in Boston feels less like entering a school and more like being granted access to the command center of global capitalism. The sheer weight of history and influence is palpable in the air. So what makes Harvard Harvard? It boils down to one core, uncompromising and relentless methodology: the case method. Forget lectures. Forget textbooks in the traditional sense. For 2 years, your life is a series of 800+ business cases. Every single day, you are thrown into the shoes of a protagonist at a crossroads. You are the CEO deciding whether to launch a risky product. You are the hedge fund manager deciding whether to short a stock. You are the founder pleading for series of funding. There are no right answers. There is only your analysis, your argument, and your ability to defend it, out loud, in front of 90 of the most brilliant, ambitious, and intimidatingly articulate people you will ever meet. This happens in what's known as the section. This group of 90 students is your crucible. It's your family and your competition, your support system and your harshest critics. You live with them, you study with them, you go to war in the classroom with them every single day. The infamous HBS cold call is a part of this legend. At any moment, the professor can lock eyes with you and say your name. And in that instant, you are expected to dissect the case, frame the problem, and propose a path forward with absolute clarity and conviction. It is terrifying. It is exhilarating. And it is, without a doubt, one of the most effective leadership training programs ever conceived by humankind. HBS doesn't teach you what to think. It rewires your brain on how to think, how to make decisions under extreme pressure with incomplete information. The network, as we teased, is in a league of its own. It's a global shadow cabinet. When you graduate from HBS, you are handed a key to a kingdom. The alumni directory isn't a list of contacts. It's a roster of the world's most powerful people, and they will take your call. George W. Bush, Michael Bloomberg, Jamie Dimon, Sheryl Sandberg, Ray Dalio. The list is endless. This network isn't just for finding a job. It's for getting a company funded, for sourcing a critical deal, for getting advice from the one person on earth who has solved the exact problem you're facing. It is a lifelong, unbreakable bond forged in the fires of the case method. Career-wise, HBS is the undisputed king of institutional power. It is the primary pipeline for talent into the most exclusive corners of the global economy. Private equity, hedge funds, and venture capital. If you want to manage massive pools of capital and make decisions that shape industries, HBS is your most direct path. But it's also a powerhouse for general management, churning out more Fortune 500 CEOs than any other school. So why, you might ask, is the mighty Harvard Business School at number 3? For 2026, it comes down to a subtle shift in the landscape. While HBS teaches you how to master the existing world order, other schools are perhaps more focused on building the next one. Its large class size and rigid curriculum, while powerful, offer less flexibility than some of its peers. For the right person, the aspiring general manager, the future titan of finance, the leader who thrives on debate and pressure, HBS is, and always will be, the ultimate destination. But for others, the journey leads west. If HBS is the established empire, our number 2 school is the heart of the revolution. We leave the hallowed brick halls of Boston and head to the sun-drenched, optimistic, and relentlessly innovative landscape of Palo Alto, California. We're trading the case studies of the past for the creation of the case studies of the future. Coming in at number 2 is the Stanford Graduate School of Business. The GSB is a different world. Its motto, change lives, change organizations, change the world, isn't just a tagline. It's the very soul of the institution. Where HBS is pragmatic, the GSB is aspirational. Where HBS forges leaders through intellectual combat, the GSB cultivates them through personal transformation and introspection. The first thing you notice is the scale. With a class size of just over 400 students, it's less than half the size of HBS. This isn't a bug. It's the central feature. The GSB experience is defined by its intimacy. You don't just know your section, you know your entire class. This fosters a level of collaboration, trust, and community that is simply impossible to replicate at a larger scale. The culture is less sharp-elbowed, more supportive. The guiding question isn't, how can I win? But, how can we build something amazing together? Academically, Stanford offers a universe of flexibility. While the first year has a core curriculum, it's far less rigid, and the ability to take classes across Stanford University is a game changer. Want to build a company at the intersection of AI and healthcare? You can take classes at the legendary School of Engineering and the School of Medicine, all while being a GSB student. This interdisciplinary approach is a magnet for people who don't see the world in neat, corporate silos. But the most famous and perhaps most important course at Stanford is one called Interpersonal Dynamics, known affectionately and universally as touchy-feely. In this class, students are put into small, confidential groups where they learn to give and receive brutally honest feedback, understand their own emotional triggers, and build authentic relationships. It sounds soft, but it is one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences of the entire MBA. GSB understands that the future of leadership isn't just about brilliant analysis. It's about emotional intelligence, empathy, and the ability to inspire. And then there's the GSB's ultimate, inimitable competitive advantage: its location. The school isn't just near Silicon Valley, it is Silicon Valley. The osmosis is total. Your professors are often active venture capitalists. The guest speaker in your class isn't just a CEO. They're the founder of the app you used this morning. The person sitting next to you in class isn't just a classmate. They're the co-founder of your future startup. The line between campus and the global epicenter of technology and venture capital is non-existent. This makes the GSB the undisputed global champion for two specific paths: entrepreneurship and venture capital. It is a unicorn factory. From Nike and Trader Joe's to DoorDash and Nubank, the list of billion-dollar companies born from GSB graduates is staggering. If your dream is to start a company that will fundamentally change an industry, or to be the investor who funds that company, there is simply no better place on planet Earth to be. The access, the mindset, and the network are unparalleled. The GSB is for the dreamer, the builder, the optimist who sees a problem and asks, how can I fix it in a way no one has ever thought of before? It's for the person seeking not just a career change but a life change. It offers a bespoke, transformative journey in the heart of what's next. So, we have the empire and the revolution, the institution that masters the world as it is, and the one that builds the world as it could be. An East Coast titan of institutional power, and a West Coast engine of disruptive innovation. Feels like an impossible choice. Perfect tie. And yet, there is a number one. There is one school that, for 2026, manages to blend the raw, innovative energy of Silicon Valley with an institutional heft and a global reach that is simply unmatched. A school that sits at the nexus of finance, technology, media, and culture. And that school, the one that truly owns that nexus, isn't in California. It's in the heart of Manhattan. Coming in at number 2 on our list for 2026 is the Columbia Business School. When we say Columbia is at the very center of business, it's not a marketing slogan. It is a literal geographical fact. While other schools bring the world to their campus, Columbia's campus is the world. Wall Street isn't a field trip. It's a subway ride away. The headquarters of global media conglomerates aren't case studies. They are the skyscrapers you see from your classroom window. This isn't just proximity. It's immersion. It's osmosis. The energy of New York City seeps into every lecture, every club meeting, every late-night study session. Let's start with the obvious: finance. There is arguably no better place on the planet to launch a high finance career. The pipeline from Columbia to Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and JP Morgan is legendary. But it's the access that's truly insane. Imagine your value investing class being taught by a partner from a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund, or having a coffee chat series where the guest is the CEO of a major investment bank. The famed Heilbronn Center for Graham and Dodd Investing is the modern temple for value investors, a place where the principles of Benjamin Graham are not just taught, but practiced at the highest level. But to pigeonhole Columbia as just a finance school in 2026 would be a massive mistake. New York City has evolved and so has Columbia. It's a powerhouse in luxury retail and marketing, with unparalleled access to brands like LVMH and Tiffany's. It's a dominant force in real estate, literally building the curriculum around the city's ever-changing skyline. And with the rise of Silicon Alley, Columbia has become a major player in tech and venture capital, leveraging its deep ties to New York's thriving startup ecosystem. What forges these world-class leaders is Columbia's famously rigorous core curriculum. In your first year, you are thrown into the deep end with a cohort or cluster of about 70 students. You take every class together. It's an intense, shared experience that creates an unbreakable bond. This structure forces you to learn the language of every part of a business, from accounting to marketing to operations, ensuring that when you graduate, you are not just a specialist, but a complete business athlete. And now, the physical campus matches the school's ambition. The new Manhattanville campus is, to put it mildly, a masterpiece. The two new buildings, Henry R. Kravis Hall and David Geffen Hall, are not just academic buildings. They are architectural marvels designed to foster spontaneous interaction and collaboration. With light-filled open spaces, interconnected floors, and technology integrated into every surface, the campus itself is a statement. The future of business is about transparency, connectivity, and innovation. The ideal Columbia student is a hustler, in the best sense of the word. They are ambitious, energetic, and understand that their education isn't confined to four walls. They are the ones securing 3 different in-semester internships, leveraging the alumni network to meet with industry titans, and treating New York City as an extension of their classroom. If you want an Ivy League education with a street-smart, real-world edge, where the opportunities are as vast and varied as the city itself, Columbia is your number 2 for a reason. So, we've reached the pinnacle. We've journeyed through the quantitative rigor of Chicago, the consulting powerhouse of Kellogg, the raw ambition of Columbia. Each one is an institution capable of transforming your career and your life. But there can only be one number 1. How do you top a school at the center of the financial universe? What could possibly offer more opportunity than being immersed in the capital of capital? You do it by changing the definition of center. What if the center wasn't a place where business is done, but a place where the future of business is invented? What if the goal wasn't just to master the existing industries, but to create the next ones? What if the most valuable asset wasn't just access to the world's leaders, but the environment to become one yourself on your own terms? There is one school that embodies this ethos more than any other. A school whose small size belies its monumental impact on the world. A place where the audacious is the expectation, and the impossible is just a problem that hasn't been solved yet. For 2026, the number 1 best MBA program in the United States is the Stanford Graduate School of Business. Stanford isn't just located near Silicon Valley. Stanford is the heart of Silicon Valley. The symbiotic relationship between the university and the tech ecosystem is unlike anything else in the world. The venture capitalists on Sand Hill Road aren't just guest speakers. They are alumni, co-founders, and often, the people funding your classmate's startup idea that was sketched on a napkin last week. The culture of innovation isn't taught from a textbook. It's in the air you breathe, the conversations you overhear at the Coupa Cafe, the sheer concentration of brilliant, driven people determined to build the future. The school's motto is change lives, change organizations, change the world. And it's not hyperbole. Stanford GSB is an incubator for leaders who think on a global scale. While other schools might teach you how to optimize a supply chain, Stanford asks you to reinvent the entire concept of delivery. While others train you to be a great manager in a Fortune 500 company, Stanford encourages you to build the next Fortune 500 company. The list of companies founded by GSB alumni is staggering. Nike, Trader Joe's, StubHub, DoorDash, the list goes on and on. It is, without question, the most powerful entrepreneurial launchpad on the planet. But what truly sets Stanford apart, the secret ingredient in its world-changing formula, is its relentless focus on personal leadership and self-awareness. This is epitomized by the most famous and sought-after course in its curriculum, Interpersonal Dynamics, known universally as touchy-feely. In a small confidential group setting, students learn to give and receive brutally honest feedback, to understand their own emotional triggers, and to see how their behavior impacts others. It sounds soft, but it is the single most powerful leadership training you can receive. It forges leaders who are not just brilliant strategists, but are also empathetic, influential, and profoundly self-aware. This is the skill that allows you to inspire a team, to navigate a crisis, to build a culture, and to truly change the world. The GSB is also famously small, with a class size of just over 400 students. This isn't a factory, it's a curated community. The admissions process is notoriously holistic, looking for unique individuals with a demonstrated track record of impact and a clear vision for their future. The result is a class where every single person is extraordinary. The small size fosters a deeply collaborative, non-competitive environment where your classmates become your co-founders, your investors, and your lifelong friends. The network isn't just broad, it's deep. Furthermore, the GSB is just one piece of the incredible Stanford University ecosystem. Want to build a new medical device? You can walk over to the top-ranked medical school. Need to understand design thinking? The world-famous D.School is right there. Need to patent your algorithm? The law school and computer science departments are a stone's throw away. This cross-disciplinary collaboration is not just encouraged, it's embedded in the DNA of the place. It allows you to build a truly holistic skill set, making you not just a business person, but a complete innovator. Choosing Stanford is not just choosing a business school, it's choosing a mindset. It's for the person who sees a problem in the world and feels an undeniable urge to solve it. It's for the nonconformist, the builder, the dreamer with a bias for action. It's for the person who believes that one great idea, backed by a powerful community and an unshakable belief in oneself, can genuinely change the world. It is the undisputed champion, the pinnacle of business education, and our #1 MBA program for 2026. The Stanford Graduate School of Business. Located not just near, but at the very epicenter of global innovation, Stanford GSB isn't just a school, it's an ecosystem. It is the intellectual forge of Silicon Valley, a place where the line between classroom theory and world-changing reality is so thin, it's practically non-existent. Its motto, change lives, change organizations, change the world, is not a lofty aspirational phrase. At Stanford, it is the daily curriculum. It is the admission requirement. It is the expectation. While Harvard might be the factory for the Fortune 500 C-suite, Stanford is the incubator for the founders who will one day create the Fortune 50. The GSB experience is defined by its unparalleled integration with the venture capital and technology industries. Sand Hill Road, the legendary home of the world's most powerful venture capital firms, isn't a field trip destination. It's a 5-minute drive from campus. VCs aren't just guest lecturers, they're co-teaching classes, judging pitch competitions, and having coffee with students at the Arbuckle Dining Pavilion. This isn't just networking, it's osmosis. You absorb the language, the mindset, and the audacity of Silicon Valley simply by breathing the air. The curriculum is built around this ethos of creation. While you'll get a world-class education in finance, marketing, and operations, the true magic of Stanford lies in its entrepreneurial ecosystem. Classes like Startup Garage and Lean Launchpad aren't theoretical exercises. They are real-world accelerators where students form teams, build actual products, and pitch to real investors. The number of companies founded by GSB alumni is staggering: Nike, Charles Schwab, Trader Joe's, Instacart, DoorDash, StubHub, Zillow. The list is a testament to a culture that doesn't just encourage risk-taking, it deifies it. Failure isn't stigmatized. It's seen as a data point on the path to a breakthrough. But to think of Stanford as just a startup factory would be a massive oversimplification. The school's true secret weapon, the course that alumni speak of with a reverence usually reserved for spiritual experiences, is a class officially called Interpersonal Dynamics. But everyone knows it by its nickname, Touchy-Feely. This isn't a class about spreadsheets or valuation models. It's a class about you. In small, confidential groups, students learn to give and receive brutally honest feedback, to understand their own emotional triggers, and to see how their behavior impacts others in real time. It is an intense, often uncomfortable, and profoundly transformative crucible of self-discovery. Stanford operates on the fundamental belief that you cannot lead others until you truly understand yourself. You cannot build a world-changing organization on a shaky foundation of self-deception. Touchy-feely is where that foundation is pressure-tested and rebuilt, stronger than ever. It is the single biggest reason why GSB graduates aren't just brilliant strategists, but deeply self-aware, empathetic, and influential leaders. This focus on introspection is reflected in the school's most famous application essay question: what matters most to you and why? This question stumps thousands of applicants every year because it's not looking for the right answer. It's looking for the real one. It's a search for character, for purpose, for the driving force behind your ambition. Stanford isn't admitting a resume, it's admitting a human being. They are building a small, intimate class of around 420 students, each chosen not just for their past accomplishments, but for their potential to contribute to this deeply collaborative and vulnerable community. Unlike the larger case method-driven environments of its East Coast rivals, the GSB feels more like a tight-knit family. The smaller class size fosters a level of trust and camaraderie that is legendary. Your classmates aren't just your network. They're the people you start a company with, the people you call for advice 10 years down the line, the people who show up for you no matter what. So, who is the Stanford GSB for? It is for the dreamer with a plan, the idealist with a prototype. It's for the person who sees a broken system not as a problem, but as an opportunity. It's for the leader who understands that emotional intelligence is just as critical as financial acumen. It's for the applicant who is willing to look in the mirror and do the hard work of self-improvement, not just for personal gain, but to become the kind of leader the world desperately needs. If your ambition isn't just to climb the ladder, but to build a whole new ladder, and to help others climb it with you, then you might have the soul of a GSB student. The ROI here isn't just measured in a salary, which is consistently the highest of any MBA program. It is measured in impact, in ventures launched, in lives changed, and in worlds reimagined. And there you have it. Our complete countdown of the top 10 best MBA programs in the USA for 2026. From the quantitative powerhouse of Chicago Booth to the marketing mecca of Kellogg, from the general management titan of Harvard to the entrepreneurial nerve center of Stanford, each of these institutions represents a different flavor of excellence. But as we conclude, it's crucial to remember the most important truth. The best program isn't the one at the top of our list. It's the one that's the best fit for you. It's the community where you will feel both supported and challenged. It's the culture that aligns with your values. It's the ecosystem that will pour fuel on the fire of your specific ambitions. An MBA from any of these schools is more than a credential. It is a 2-year odyssey designed to fundamentally rewire how you think, how you lead, and how you see your own potential. It's about finding your tribe, the people who will push you, inspire you, and hold you accountable to the highest version of yourself. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone and into an arena with the brightest, most driven people on the planet. This list isn't the end of your research. It's the beginning of your journey. Dig deeper. Talk to students and alumni. Attend information sessions. Most importantly, spend some time in quiet reflection and ask yourself that famous Stanford question. What matters most to you and why? Because the answer to that question will be a far better guide than any ranking could ever be. It will be your compass, pointing you not just to the right school, but to the right life. Now I want to turn this over to you. The A-Team community is one of the smartest on the platform. Let me know in the comments. Which of these schools is your dream school? And what's the big idea you'd want to bring to life there? If you're an alum or a current student of one of these programs, share one piece of advice for prospective applicants. Let's make the comments section a masterclass in itself. And finally, if this deep dive provided you with immense value and brought you one step closer to your goals, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're on a mission to help you build an extraordinary career and an intentional life, and we have so much more to share with you. Thank you for your time and your attention. Your journey doesn't start with an acceptance letter. It starts right now with the decision to aim for something bigger. Go make it happen.